Hey writer friends, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing with you how to make goals and deadlines for your novel, plus my timeline for querying Project Diamond. If you're new here, my name is Holly. I'm a writer aspiring to be a published author. If you haven't already, please give this video a big thumbs up and click subscribe to support my channel and ring that bell so you don't miss any videos. Okay, so it's been a hot minute since I have been here in front of the camera filming and about to edit this video. It's crazy, but I had a very productive, very good month of November, which was NaNoWriMo. I got my NaNoWriMo Word Slayer shirt, which is like super cozy and fun. But if you want to hear about my NaNoWriMo experience along with some of my friends who are both plotters and pantsers, I will link that down below. Short end of it, I did win NaNoWriMo and I completed the first draft of Project Diamond. Let me know in the comments down below how you did for your NaNoWriMo project, whether you won, whether you got a couple thousand words, whether you gave up in the middle and just started writing something new. Totally fine, but I want to hear about it in the comments. One of the reasons I believe I was so successful and able to focus on finishing this draft was that I didn't spend that time sitting in front of the camera filming videos for you guys, but I had plenty of live streams. If you didn't notice, if you are still working on finishing your NaNoWriMo novel or just whatever project you're working on, all of the live streams I always have in a playlist called live streams, so you can always watch the replay, and I do that myself. I always will watch live streams if there's not a live stream going on, but I need that accountability and motivation, the fun timers, the different things that people have in their live streams to do writing sprints. So please feel free to watch the videos that I have, the replays, so that you can keep up your motivation and finish your novel. But so, let's say you have finished your novel, which, yay, congratulations. So like, what next? What do you do next? Well, that's why I'm here today to help guide you along how I make my goals and deadlines for my novel, and also the exact timeline that I am giving for Project Diamond. And I will be revealing the date about when I believe I will be able to start querying this novel, which is awesome. So first things first, as you can tell, I know what my end goal is querying. So you want to know, what are you planning on doing with this novel? Are you planning on just writing it for fun and no one's going to see it? Are you planning on self-publishing? Or are you planning on going the traditional publishing route? That is obviously going to dictate where you're going to take the rest of the year and into 2021. Obviously, if you're going the self-publishing route, it's going to be a lot longer and more things that you're going to have to set deadlines for versus if you're just going to be querying because you're not going through the whole publishing process in there. Specifically, I will be talking about how I'm going to edit and work on Project Diamond to set up for the traditional publishing route. The next thing you want to do is make sure you set realistic goals. And it's going to be different for every novel, and you may be kind of off. So these dates that I'm going to be telling you that I'm expecting to get things done for Project Diamond, I am giving them a rough estimate. I'm not sure. It might take longer, it might take shorter, but I'm going to at least have a rough general outline for it, and I'm going to be able to be flexible within those dates. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm done a week early, I guess I can't send out this draft to betas. It's like, no, send it out now, then you'll be a week ahead of schedule and you might be able to start querying faster. But one thing that I do know that it has taken experience for me to figure out is that I usually give myself like a month to go through edits, whether that is developmental or line edits. And your girl takes much longer. So I built that into my timeline where I said, okay, let's give myself a little more time because a month is not really realistic. Now, maybe it will be for this novel, but in my past experiences, I need much more time. And then the other piece of that is that you might need more drafts than you have originally planned or thought that you would need. So usually I go through 2 rounds of developmental edits for my novels, but this time around, I'm only going through 1 round. I feel like the way I had plotted and planned this novel using the Save the Cat beats, I feel like a lot of the developmental structure is pretty sound. There are some things that I know I'm going to need to change and fix, but I feel like that core is very solid. So I feel like a lot more of my work is going to be put into the line editing phase. And so I'm only going to be going through 1 round of developmental edits. I also have a really good team of critique partners / beta readers that I really trust, and I know over time they have given me good, solid feedback that I trust their input, and I know if I just implement their feedback once, I'm not gonna need to make very many changes, if any at all, after that. And so, are you guys ready for the timeline for querying Project Diamond? So this is the story Bible that I have for Project Diamond. I haven't completed it. I have my story Bible on my computer and I haven't finalized it all and printed it out and put it in my binder because I knew I was going to be changing certain plot points and things that I didn't want to print it out because I knew after the first draft I was going to change it. But if you would like to see me go through my story Bible, which I obviously can't show spoilers, but I can show some pictures and things, please let me know in the comments if you would like to see the story binder / story Bible for Project Diamond. Okay, so on the flip side here, this is my timeline for Project Diamond. So what I did, so this is what I recommend that you do, is print out a calendar. And so I printed out for 2021 and it has all of the months of the year, which fingers crossed 2021 will be a much better year. Though 2020, you know, it had its good moments, it really did. There are some things to be grateful for this year, such as me getting out of my writing slump, getting married, things like that. But anyways, so I did have some goals and dates of things in December, so I just kind of put that in the corner here because I didn't want to print out a whole 2020 calendar just for December. But my timeline for Project Diamond is on December 14th, I am going to start editing the first draft. And so as you can see, that is 2 weeks since finishing the draft, since finishing NaNoWriMo. Now, way back in the day when I wrote my first novel for NaNoWriMo in 2015, I think I gave myself well over a month before I started editing the draft, just because I was doing so much research on editing and querying and what I needed to do after I finished that first draft. But with time, I've realized that a month, I don't need that long of a break between finishing the first draft and starting to edit the first draft. You do want at least a week's time, I would say. I personally like taking at least 2 weeks, but some people only need a week, but I recommend taking at least a week off so that you can rest. First, rest because you just beasted and finished the novel, and that's amazing, but also you want to be able to look at your manuscript with fresh eyes. So I haven't looked at my manuscript since I finished it, but I've been thinking about things here and there of, okay, you know what, I think I'm gonna need to clean this up, or I'm gonna need to make this clearer. So actually what I did when I was writing the draft, because editing is a big no-no in the NaNoWriMo verse, but I would quickly go to my story Bible. In the middle of drafting, I would quickly go there and write down something that I knew that I was doing. So for example, I was writing Project Diamond in present tense, which I've never done before. I've always written in past tense, but I found myself accidentally slipping into past tense occasionally. And so I made a note in kind of my editing notes at the end of my story Bible document to ensure that everything is present tense. So there's things like that where I already have little notes for myself of things that I'm going to need to look at and change for the first draft. And so December 14th, which is in a week, I'm going to start editing the first draft, which is so exciting because I do miss the story already. But then on December 19th, I'm going to try to solidify my critique partners and beta readers for the second draft. So I know I want to give people enough time to say, hey, my draft is going to be ready around this date. Will you be able to read it for me? This is my timeline of when I'd like it back. And so you want to have that set in stone ahead of time so that when you finish editing that first draft and you have a second draft, you're not now scrambling to find someone to read it and give you feedback. You already have those people in place and you can send that off to them, no problem. And so what I did is I used different highlighters to highlight the dates, and then I put under the month, I put exactly what I'm going to do. So on January 23rd, that's my goal / deadline to send the second draft to my critique partners. And so that is giving myself 6 weeks to edit the first draft. I know I do have a lot of beefing up to do. I did underwrite this draft. It's a little bit less than 55K. And at first I was estimating it to be 70K. I would have thought it would at least be 60K. And I know that there's some areas that I can beef up. But so I think 6 weeks will be plenty of time. Hopefully I can finish a little bit earlier, but January 23rd is my goal date for that. That's like, I will at least send the draft off by then. And so I like to give my beta readers and critique partners 1 month to read the draft. A lot of times people read things much faster and return it within like 2 or 3 weeks, but I like to give them that month in case things are going on or they fall behind and they have that time to finish. So then my deadline to receive feedback on the second draft is February 20th. Now, as I receive feedback from betas throughout that month, I usually start reading their feedback, start kind of organizing it, implementing, looking at what I'm going to want to implement. So if I do have people that take that whole month, now I have a new deadline, which is February 28th, which is the last month of February, to finish reviewing and organizing all of the feedback. So I'm giving myself an extra week after the due date to kind of go through all of it, see what I want to implement, see kind of the overall census on Project Diamond. Now I gave myself like a weird date for this, but pretty much when my beta readers and critique partners are reading the second draft, I'm going to already start drafting up a query letter and the synopsis. And what's the other thing I need? Query letter and synopsis. That's it for now. So I'm gonna have a rough draft of those two things, my submission materials for querying, because I'm gonna have a month off and I'm gonna wanna do something still. So even though I might have to change things in the query, in the synopsis, if I'm gonna be making some bigger developmental changes, at least I will have the general template and I will have kind of that rough draft of the query and synopsis. So then my deadline for that is hopefully on March 20th, I will have finalized my query and synopsis, because by then I will have already started editing and implementing my critique partner's feedback, and I will know, okay, this plot point is staying, this plot point is going, and I can change that up. So I will hopefully have that done in March, which will be awesome, and then hopefully I can kind of get feedback on that throughout the upcoming months to make sure that it is solid and sound. And so like I said before, 1 month is not enough time for me to go through edits, and I don't know how long it's gonna take me to go through my critique partner's feedback, but I'm giving myself another 6 weeks to implement their feedback, completely finish developmental edits, and have a new third draft. And so the goal date for that will be April 10th. And now, I know I'm kind of crazy, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I said that I usually like 6 weeks to go through my edits, but April is Camp NaNoWriMo. And I'm like, well, I need to have a big goal for Camp NaNoWriMo. So my goal to finish line edits, which is the next round of edits, is April 30th, which is the end of Camp NaNoWriMo. So your girl's gonna be a little bit crazy then, but I feel like I'll be able to do it. I feel like my timeline of implementing my critique partner's feedback, I won't need the whole 6 weeks. So I'm hoping really that I can finish those changes by April, so that all of April for Camp NaNoWriMo, I can do line edits. So we will see how this timeline kind of shifts as I go along in 2021. And so then the first week of May, I am going to really attack those opening pages, revisit those, really clean them up. And then hopefully on May 8th, I can have feedback on refining those pages. So whether it's sending those to more critique partners or sending it to a professional site to be critiqued and get feedback, or hiring someone who gives feedback and edits query letters or opening pages. I would love to do that because those opening pages are super, super crucial for agents. And so I want to make sure that that is as perfect as possible. And so, drum roll please. My goal date for querying Project Diamond is May 9th. Woohoo! So I'm really, really hoping that in May, I can start querying Project Diamond. Super exciting, and I really hope that it can be a thing. I really want to rally because the traditional publishing route is so slow. And now with COVID, it's even slower. So if I can help speed up the process by editing things the right way, but also trying to be as fast and efficient as I can, your girl's gonna do that. So the last date that I have highlighted is June 3rd, which is about 3.5 weeks after I'll have started querying Project Diamond, and that is for PitMad. So I think that was the other thing I was going to do in March, along with starting the rough draft of the query and synopsis, was also drafting up some pitches for like PitMad or SSF Pit on Twitter, because those Twitter pitch contests are also great ways of finding agents. And so I am hoping that I will get some good feedback and get some responses from agents in the month of May, but if not, then I might consider doing PitMad and seeing if I get any bites that way. And of course, the rest of the months from July to December are blank, but they will probably be filled with send out more queries, send out more queries. But fingers crossed that Project Diamond is the one. I love this story. I really feel like I've learned so much with this draft and that have grown so much as a writer that I'm really hoping that this is the one. I'm really hoping that this is the one. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this timeline. Let me know what your timeline for your novel is going to be. I hope you found these tips helpful and that you are also excited about Project Diamond. I will definitely be updating you all along the way. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.